Mahoney's issue 1 takes us to the seedy underbelly of the city and to the super villains only bar Mahoney's, server of the best craft beer in town. Newly retired villain the Blender, whose powers allow him to go invisible, is hired after being vouched for by server Cat as another server at Mahoney's by bar owner Mike, aka Brawler, a former villain who introduces him to the various denizens of the bar, beginning with the Professor, or Prof as Mike calls him. Blender will be working with him to organize his appointments, since the Professor helps many of the patrons of the bar with their weapons and doomsday devices. Next up is the alien Zack, the cleaner and head chef, whose ship crashed in the 50s and was a forward scout for an invasion, but some hoodlums looted his ship and he can't contact his homeworld, so now he's stuck flipping burgers. Blender knows Zack as the devourer of outer space, an old school villain who's 50 feet tall, or at least should be, but the villain reveals that the hero Supersizer shrunk him thanks to his rampaging. Zack reveals his gross power of bio-retroverse, which means he eats human waste and vomits it back up as perfectly edible human food, like the steak he makes for Blender. Soon some regulars arrive after a botched robbery, settling in for the night as Blender brings them their drinks. The night continues on as Psychic tries to set up a tab with Blender, but Mike quickly reminds him of bar rule 1, no IOUs, especially for villains. Mike soon has to get rid of a few rowdy villains, barring them for the week before retrieving more beer from the back, where he is confronted by the hero Nightcowl, who doesn't think the former villain can keep acting like a law-abiding citizen. Mike tells him that he isn't Brawler anymore, but Nightcowl is more concerned with all of the villains in the bar, since he wants Mike to spy on them for him, keeping him informed of any jobs the villains might be planning. Mike isn't about to ruin his business, but Nightcowl says that Captain Superior told him Mike's secret. Mike knows that this is blackmail, but Nightcowl doesn't care, since his offer still stands. Mike thought that Nightcowl was the good guy, and Nightcowl thought that Mike was as well. Meanwhile, Cat has been listening in to their conversation as Nightcowl disappears. Back in the bar, Blender is about to serve Bludgeon his beer in a glass, but Mike quickly stops him since his ionic fists keep breaking them, so he needs to serve him in a titanium tankard. Mike talks with his old friend Bludgeon, wondering how things are with the Savage Squad, and the villain begins talking about a raid his squad has planned for next week as Cat comes in, not happy about what she heard in the alley, causing her to storm off. Mike doesn't know what happened, but Bludgeon says Cat really likes him, and it's very obvious to everyone except Mike, it seems. Closing time rolls around and everyone leaves as Bludgeon is stopped by Cat, who wants to know what he and Mike were talking about. She warns him to be careful and not to tell Mike certain things, but the villain has known him for years and it's safe to do so. As Mike kicks out the drunk villains, Professor says that Blender is the perfect man for the job and has done stunningly on his first day. Mike asks if Blender wants the job and the man does, receiving his first pay and tips. As he heads home, Mike meets Cat in the back alley. She tells him that she is quitting, saying Mike isn't the man she thought he was. Using her cat-like powers, she climbs the wall and onto the roof, forcing Mike to jump after her. He confronts her on the roof, learning about her overhearing Nightcowl's blackmail speech in the alley. Their arguing over Mike's secret brings the attention of Captain Superior. Mike stops Cat from attacking the captain as he says he hopes Mike didn't forget that this was the final Friday of the month, the day where they get together for a drink, something he tells Cat has happened ever since the event. Tonight though, he is there to apologize for Nightcowl since he had to tell the hero about Mike's secret in order to stop him from raiding Mahoney's, but he also has no idea he would use it to blackmail Mike. Cat wants to know what the hell is going on, so Mike reveals that he and Captain Superior at one point had a team up, but then lets the captain fill in the rest of the story as he goes to sit down on the edge of the building. Superior says that they both fought one another many times, but they were forced to team up to stop a malevolent being called Megatax from destroying Earth. In the fight, Mike was left to fight the creature alone after the captain's powers were drained by the monster. Mike managed to win the battle and then save the powerless hero from the vacuum of space as the villain died. Cat is surprised that Mike saved the whole world, and Captain says that he also saved him, his sworn enemy. The hero soon learns that thanks to a fire downtown, he has to leave, but he tells Cat to let Mike know that he will reschedule their drink and that he can tell that she is a good person. Kat goes to see Mike, saying Captain Superior is actually a decent guy, since she thought he was a real asshole. Something Mike tells her that he probably just heard thanks to his super hearing. Mike tells her everything the hero said is true, and it's why he quit being a villain, since there was no way he could go back to everyday villain activities after saving the whole world on the moon. Kat wonders if he's ashamed of what he did and why he isn't telling people, but Mike says that being a bad guy is all he was ever good at, so being a hero momentarily made his whole life change. Kat says that on behalf of humanity, she would like to thank him for saving the world. Mahoney's issue 1 was a really great first issue in this new and fun series from Hardline Comics that puts a spin on things like Cheers or Marvel's Bar with No Name. I enjoyed getting to know these characters at the same time the audience character of the Blender was as well, and it was cool to see some of the lore of the world explored and kind of hinted at through the stories told at the bar and here at the end where we get to hear about the event. My favourite character of the book so far has to be Zack. His story is pretty funny and his powers are utterly gross. I absolutely love it. The backup story of Flamer's failed bank robbery was also really funny, and his 3-person team is a big highlight of the book, which I hope we get to see a bit more of, and I have a feeling we will. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with Mike now and his struggle with being seen as a hero, even though being a villain is all he has ever known. All in all, it was a really solid first issue. I'm going to give this issue an 8 out of 10. Mahoney's issue 2 sees the bar patrons attend the 12th annual Capies, an all-star, all-villains award ceremony where the villains celebrate their villainous deeds with awards like Most Ambitious Master Plan and Most Dramatic Return from the Dead. But it's not all fun and games, as a hero has infiltrated their ranks, and not just any hero, the vigilante known as the Revenger, who looks to blow up the event and take out all the villains in one single blow. Can Mike, the Blender, and Kat figure out who the vigilante is masquerading as before the show ends, or will this Capies be their last? To find out, head over to the Mahoney's Kickstarter page, where upon backing the project you will find out if the villains succeed in their plans to stop the heroes, or if the heroes win. The Kickstarter offers many great tiers and incentives, with all of the tiers coming with the really fun issue 2 of Mahoney's, and the higher tiers offering some really cool goodies like high quality art prints, character cards, hand-drawn art, and copies of all of Hardline Comics' backlog. So do me a favor and head over to the Kickstarter. You'll find the link in the description below and check it out. You can also check out my review of the awesome Mahoney's issue 1 right here on the Fortress of Solitude. Hey everyone, thanks for watching my newest video. If you enjoyed it, you might also like to check out my other reviews here on my channel. You can also follow me on various social media platforms like Twitter by searching Matt_FOS, or even join the Comic Multiverse Discord server and chat with other comic book fans, including myself and Joel from Cape Joel. Want cheap comics and trades? Head over to the book depository with the link in the description to get the cheapest trades and comics around, along with free shipping anywhere in the world. Until next time, this has been Matt of the Fortress of Solitude. Thank you so much for watching.